I don't usually paint people. The reason for that, because it's scary and you are not alone, because I didn't paint people either. So in today's video, I'm sharing some highlights from our 4-week people challenge where we explored painting people in a fun and more approachable way. At least I think so. So whether you tried it or you're nervous about getting started, I've got some easy tips and some inspiration I think is going to help you dive into your own people painting journey. So if you're an artist or maybe you're a craft person that felt more comfortable doing landscapes, seascapes, things like that, and were really nervous about painting people like I was, because they're scary. Hey, we're in October, month of October, so why not be afraid, right? This month, I challenge my students and myself to really step out of our comfort zone, and I think the results were absolutely amazing. Did a few video tutorials online and we played around a little bit. So let's dive into our people journey. All right, the first thing that I tried out were these little tiny people. These were so much fun. They have all these little characters of their own. And I feel like I went back to the 1900s where my Victorian home was built. Maybe I was channeling them. I don't know. But look at them, like I added little tiny books to them, little hats and scarves. I felt like it was a winter time. I had a little snow in there. I mean, I don't know. When I first started painting it was just kind of like, well, let's see if I can make it even look like a little human being in there. So I created my own little tiny world. Start out with a simple little dot for the head. And then you kind of pick and choose some colors. You know, if you want to do some fleshy tones, you can do that. You can add a little brown to it if you want a little bit of darker skin tone. But you can play around with the skin tones, adding a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red work really well. And then adding some burnt sienna or umber or something like that. So then I went ahead, I just made some little heads and I just changed out the colors of their shirts. And you can see I'm just dotting that shape down on here. Now these are really tiny. So it's a great one to start with because it was like no pressure. Some of them had then some pants, maybe some of them had some skirts, and I just let the brush just kind of do what it was going to do. I didn't pre-plan anything. I just kind of laid it down on the paper and see what little shape came from it. So it was really fun. Then you add a little bit of a shadow down on the bottom, and it's like all of a sudden you have these tiny little people. And I had done a couple of YouTube videos later, and they talk about grounding your people because you just don't want them floating out there in space. So having the shadow really helps. I had just a grand old time. I just kind of kept creating them. I kept adding a little bit more details to them, added some darker shadows and some little highlights. I went back in with pen and ink and did like the little books and things like that. You can see how you can go back in and just really add some things. Things just kind of pop out. Like it looks like somebody was holding a purse. It looked like they had a book. It looked like somebody was graduating. They had like a graduation hat. I had a lady that looked like she was having a baby. I had some that looked like they were kids because they were smaller. I mean, it was just like, you just kind of go with it. It's really, really fun. It's very therapeutic as well. So I would advise you just to grab a piece of paper. I'm just using a little small 5x7. It's actually a piece of cardstock that I cut into half from Strathmore. Love these ones. Here I'm adding an umbrella to that one. I feel like she was holding an umbrella. Someone had a scarf. I mean, just fill your paper up and then go back in with your Sharpie marker and just have some fun with it. Create some little characters and, whatever you see. Like someone had a little, looked like a little chair where I had smudged something, so I gave them a little chair. Someone was leaning over. Looks like someone's taking a selfie down there in the bottom left-hand corner. I mean, it's just funny. Like they have their own little personalities, and I think that was the part of the fun. So I filled them in. They all seemed to be going one way, so I ended up adding a few more going the other direction. Week 2, we kind of stepped it up a little bit more. I used a larger brush. This is a number 8, and we watched the Bob Blast video on making carrot people. So you can see the size of that brush. It's like the size of my pinky. And again, I'm like, well, let's just go for it here. I am going to just create some carrot people. He explains the carrot people. And I love the way he just simplified those shapes. It doesn't have to be perfect anatomy, right? It can just be more emotion and expression and emphasizing that people don't have to be perfect. It's just about storytelling and expression. And these little bodies just, I mean, it's amazing. I'm like, I can just see little characters in them. A little girl, with a mom, pregnant lady, somebody with a winter coat on. I mean, it's just like, it could be anything. So you're just going to start off with that dot. You just smush your paper or smush your paint down on your paper to give them this little body shape, and then give them that, again, that shadow to ground them. So you can see how fun those were. Again, filling up a bunch of paper, just creating those little shapes. And then for the third week, we really stepped it up and followed a quick tutorial from Matthew. And this one I was like, oh, do I really want to do this? But I do encourage you to just try it. I mean, even if it's out of your normal style, you don't have to be an expert at painting people, but you can enjoy the process. So experiment, kind of find your own voice with this. I was like, well, let's just do this. So I have his little picture in the corner, and we went through the quick tutorial with him. And I didn't actually, I watched like snippets of his the first time. Like I didn't go into too much detail because I didn't want to do it exactly like he did it. At first I wanted to see like if I could do it, you know, without him sharing what he did. But the gist of what I got from him was that, you know, you want to just do all of your light values first, then do your midtones, and then add your darker values at the end. So he didn't really get into a whole lot of detail, but it was more about the shape. He did sketch his in. We did not sketch it, and he did his wet into wet. I did not do it wet into wet. I just did it on dry paper. So, you know, it was a little bit different. But again, I learned so much from doing that process. So it's actually kind of funny. It's almost like I painted my husband in his little fishing gear. He's a fly fisherman, and I did a painting of him. It was one of my very first paintings, and one of my very first paintings I had done, painting a human in there. But this one reminded me of that a little bit. But it was so much fun. I can't say that it wasn't frustrating, but again, I learned so much. And you know, I don't do this very often, so it's great for you. And if you want to join my group, my Patreon group, we share a lot of experiences, a lot of challenges in that group, and I would love to have you. And you can also join my Facebook group, and you can watch these 4 weeks back to back if you want to give them a try. So speaking of weeks, in the 4th week, we kind of stepped it back a little bit. So I call these my beach gals, and we're just letting the characters develop a little naturally here. So we took the tiny people, the carrot-like people, and we also tested out a little bit of that layering technique from the 3rd week, and we painted unique characters completely from scratch. So there is no planning, there was no sketching. I just kind of let them develop as I went along. And one of them even turned into a little witch, which was perfect, I think, for Halloween right around the corner, right? It's going to be this one here, the first one. Didn't start out that way, but she did look like she had a little skirt on. So, and then I kind of messed up the head a little bit, which made it look like a hat, and then it just all went from there. But anyway, these ladies are all at the beach, so I added a little touch of sand at the end. I added a little bit of blue water just to kind of set the scene. So we took just the figures and added a little bit more to it. So here you can see I'm adding a little bit of the shadow down below, and this is where I was like, oh, well, okay, that's definitely a witch hat. And now I'm trying, this one was like turned the wrong way, so I'm working on her, trying to figure out if I don't really want to put a face on there, but then we made her all in black with her black skirt. And this one's still kind of turned around with her little dress on. This one's got a little hat on, and she's back too. And then I added a little bit of the water here to the beach because we can take it to the next level. Add a little sand. And then I decided, well, we've got the beach, we need a sky, so I added a little bit of blue to the sky. So we have like a whole little scene happening now. It's not just people, they're actually having a beach day. So I took their little personalities and kind of made them pop out a little bit more with a little bit of pen and ink details. And I think that really just kind of makes them pop. And it was fun. Plus, it's very spontaneous to be able to create that way. And I think the characters really just kind of take a life of their own. Again, it's all part of the joy of doing this. I was not really thinking about it. It was just kind of developing in front of my face. I think that was, that really is so much more relaxing than having to draw a specific person. So these people were just like, okay, well, I think you're wearing a dress. I think you're wearing a skirt. We're going to give you a little blouse, a little hair. It doesn't really matter. In there. I gave Avalon a bath today. Still has allergies though, allergic to grass. Well guys, I hope that helped, and I hope that you try something out of your comfort zone. It's not easy, I will say. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below. Plus there is the really weird one that I did that I'm only sharing there because I'm kind of embarrassed about it, but I think it stemmed from my girl in the window. There is the girl in the window. Isn't that creepy? She's really super creepy at night when she's all lit up. I also want to share with you, could be why I did the witch hat too. It's got the little witch hat. It's a little flat right now, but this is my little guy. I used my grandson's shoes, a pool noodle, and just put a round sheet over them. And we also have our big spider web hanging up too. Isn't that cool? With a big spider. Oh. And there's the other spider. I mean, the house is huge, so the size of the spider is pretty big. He's pretty good size. And he even has, it can glow, like his eyes glow at night. He looks like a sloth right here. I don't know why, but things really amuse me. I would not want to see one of those though, a real one that big. All right, now it's goodbye. Goodbye. Happy Halloween.